This movie is a direct sequel to the first one, called Becky, which came out in 2020. The story, of course, focuses on one girl named Becky, who is now 16 years old. 3 years after the harrowing ordeal that killed her father, 16-year-old Becky continues living life off the grid, while escaping from successive foster homes and honing her survival skills. The movie opens with Becky, who is now a seemingly innocent girl, arriving at her new foster home to live with her new parents, Ted and Alice. Ted and Alice look so happy to have adopted this girl, but they don't know that she's hiding something behind her sweet and kind personality. Though she seems nice at first, her true colors soon show, and she and her dog, Diego, flee the house the first night she was adopted. 3 years ago, her father was brutally murdered by 4 neo-Nazis who were searching for a hidden key beneath their lake house. In a vengeful act, Becky mercilessly killed each intruder and obtained the key, unaware of its significance. Since then, she has run away from 3 foster homes, manipulating, conning and burglarizing to stay off the radar and out of the system. For the past year, she has been living in a rented house belonging to an elderly woman named Elena, the only person Becky truly cares about at the moment. It all began when Elena offered her a ride, and ended up renting her a room, unaware that Becky had lied about being 18. For her, it's enough that Becky pays her rent on time and helps out around the house. Despite Elena's presence, Becky is still haunted by the trauma of her mother's hospitalization and her father's brutal death. Although she no longer resorts to violence, dark thoughts sometimes cross her mind. For instance, while working at the restaurant, she imagines slitting the throat of a customer who calls her sweetheart, but she refrains from acting on those thoughts.
I like the
I didn't actually do it.
While Elena and Becky enjoy a game of wordplay one evening, a news bulletin on the radio reveals alarming information about a fascist group called the Noble Men spreading violence throughout the country. Their primary target is Senator Hernandez, and the authorities have been monitoring the Noble Men's online activities for months, noticing an increase in their actions. The news speculates that the fascists might make their presence known at the upcoming town hall event in Fillmore in a few days. The scene then shifts to a car that we believe belongs to Noble Men when we see the flag. While Becky is working her shift, 3 men named Anthony, DJ, and Sean enter the restaurant and start harassing her. Anthony and DJ make disrespectful comments about her mother and claim that Becky is a stripper name, while Sean appears somewhat composed and attempts to calm them down. The trio then engages in a discussion fueled by their hatred towards Senator Hernandez. Moreover, they talk about receiving instructions from the mysterious leader of their organization, Daryl. However, Sean seems a bit hesitant about it, and then Anthony rudely calls Becky to bring them coffee. The girl admits that she fantasized a lot about the things she'd like to do to the people who pissed her off, but this time it will be more than just a fantasy.
I am so sorry.
do that. Get the fuck out of here. Dude, shut the fuck up! Shut up!
Consumed by rage, he decides to follow Becky to her home, intending to teach her a lesson. As night falls, Becky hears the sound of breaking glass, so she rushes downstairs to investigate. Just then, she is immediately seized by Anthony, who tries to suffocate her, prompting her to retaliate by breaking his nose. Diego attempts to come to her rescue, but is attacked by DJ. Despite her efforts, Becky finds herself overpowered by the men. During the struggle, Sean expresses his concerns, insisting that their initial plan was only to frighten Becky. Before ego-driven Anthony can act upon his intentions, Elena bravely intervenes, holding the men at gunpoint. She manages to disarm DJ, but Anthony, with a concealed revolver, fatally shoots her in the head. Becky is left speechless, her mind flooded with painful memories from her past. Consumed by rage, when she wakes up the next day, she discovers the lifeless body of Elena, and realizes that Diego is nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the men responsible for Elena's murder arrive at the residence of their organization's founder, Daryl. This is their first meeting with him, so Anthony instructs Sean and DJ to keep quiet about what occurred at Becky's house. Sean expresses his disagreement, but he is swiftly silenced with a stern warning. The weight of grief and uncertainty overwhelms Becky, since everyone she's ever loved has been taken from her. After giving Elena a proper burial, Becky begins preparing herself for 2 intertwined missions, seeking revenge for her friend's death, and rescuing her beloved dog, Diego. Fully equipped for the task ahead, she sets out to find Daryl, the name she overheard during the encounter with Anthony and his accomplices at the diner. Fortunately, there are only two individuals named Daryl in town. The first one, an elderly and frail woman relying on an oxygen cylinder, doesn't seem to fit the description Becky is looking for. Dismissing this possibility, she heads straight to the house of the other Daryl, the exact location where Anthony and his friends were seen earlier. In the meantime, the men are having lunch with Daryl and his trusted associate, Twig. Detecting a hint of uneasiness from Sean, the organization's founder inquires if everything is alright. Anthony quickly interjects on Sean's behalf and claims they are tired from the long drive. He then introduces Diego as his own dog, skillfully concealing the events that took place at Becky's house. Sean, unable to accept their actions, excuses himself from the table, which lets Daryl feel the tension in the air. Meanwhile, Becky observes them from outside the house. She then sneaks into a room with evidence linking the gang to the Nobel Men organization, and the next day will actually be an armed insurrection against Senator Hernandez. As she captures photographic proof, she suddenly hears approaching footsteps, and quickly hides as Sean and Daryl enter the room. Seeking to uncover the cause behind Sean's distressed behavior, Daryl shares a chilling story from his time in Iraq, recounting how he made the difficult choice to eliminate his injured comrade for the sake of their mission's success. He also reveals a unique thumb drive containing data on every member of the Nobel Men organization. Daryl then makes it clear that a weak link can ruin their plans, and he directly questions Sean if he is the weak link. He even asks why Sean and his friends were late for the meeting, to which Sean nervously explains that they had a flat tire, unwillingly concealing Anthony's secret. Once the men exit the room, Becky seizes the opportunity to examine the thumb drive. Feeling motivated to take out some of those who mess up the world, she's gonna play her part in this deadly game. After getting away with the drive, she quickly runs away and hides in a nearby barn. There, she finds that the barn is full of weapons, ranging from firearms to grenades. As Daryl raises a toast for their mission the next day, a knock at the door interrupts the moment, capturing his attention. Stepping outside to investigate, he discovers a ringing phone displaying Becky's name on the screen. As he shares this information with the others, Sean's immediate concern raises suspicion in Daryl's mind, and he realizes that they possess some knowledge about it. Here Anthony reluctantly reveals the incident involving Diego's abduction at Becky's place. However, he purposefully hides the tragic news of Elena's death. They then get a call from Becky, who gives them a chilling warning about a little girl who was very good when she was good, but when she was bad, she was horrid. DJ laughs as he finds this little girl hilarious, but Daryl and Twig seem to know how dangerous this little girl is. Daryl demands that Anthony return Becky's dog, and then orders one of them to catch Becky, and Anthony says he'll do it because he thinks she's just a dumb kid. As Anthony leaves the house, he calls Becky, but she insists on meeting him in the woods instead. When they meet, Anthony brandishes his gun, but hesitates to use it, not wanting to face further questioning from Daryl.
So?
Stepping forward, he unexpectedly falls into a hole skillfully dug by Becky with an excavator. Rather than killing Anthony outright, Becky chooses a more brutal fate for the murderer of her friend. Afterwards, inside the house, another knock at the door interrupts the men. Peering through the glass, Daryl spots Anthony outside with something securely duct taped to his mouth. Curiosity drives Daryl to open the door, only to realize too late that the object in Anthony's mouth is a grenade. Twig then advises Daryl to call the police, but he rejects the idea, explaining that the weaponry in the barn that will be used for their insurrection at Town Hall would raise questions. The leader then demands answers from Sean and DJ about Becky's motives and their connection to the events. Sean and DJ finally reveal that Anthony, not they, was responsible for the murder. Hearing about the plans for an insurrection, Sean reveals that he was previously unaware of the violence the organization intends to incite. And so, he curses the Brotherhood and attempts to leave the house. However, Daryl, enraged by Sean's criticism, swiftly incapacitates him with a blow to the face, and then kills him by breaking his neck. Overwhelmed by fear, DJ decides to comply with Daryl's demands in order to stay alive. Becky suddenly contacts them again, and Daryl discovers that she possesses both photographic evidence of the organization's sinister plan and their thumb drive. Fed up with Becky's actions, Twig charges outside with a gun, intent on killing her. However, already prepared, Becky employs a crossbow obtained from the barn and shoots Twig, lodging an arrow in his cheek. Despite the injury, Twig re-enters the house, has Daryl remove the arrow, and storms back outside, while Becky quickly flees the scene, inadvertently abandoning her bag in the process. Meanwhile, Daryl returns indoors, and orders frightened DJ to help locate the girl. He wants the girl alive because she's the only one who knows where the thumb drive is, but consumed by fear, DJ cunningly escapes the premises. At the same time, Becky takes Twig into the barn, and she's trapped now. Becky gains the upper hand by deploying a gas grenade against him. She then uses their large vehicle to eliminate him, but it is only in her imagination as she is unable to get the key to it. Twig pleads for forgiveness, but Becky, wielding a machete, shows no mercy and ruthlessly slashes him to his demise. As Becky is drenched in blood, she becomes a victim of Daryl's tranquilizer shot, causing her to lose consciousness. When she awakens, she finds herself bound to a chair, and notices Daryl holding her lost bag, containing the key she unknowingly values. Daryl shows Becky that a hidden shaft inside the key's cylinder contains engraved numbers he presumes to be coordinates. All of a sudden, Becky and Daryl are joined by another unexpected guest, who turns out to be the same Daryl she had previously encountered. Shockingly, the woman reveals that she is the mastermind behind the Nobel men and is, in fact, Daryl's mother. After the introductions, Becky is questioned about the whereabouts of the thumb drive, but she remains silent. They attempt to threaten her, but Becky realizes that she holds the upper hand because she alone knows the driver's location. Daryl Sr. also offers her freedom in exchange for the thumb drive, but instead of seizing the opportunity, Becky boldly spits at the woman. In a calculated move, Daryl Sr. feeds Diego, Becky's loyal dog, before threatening its life. Seeing this, Becky reluctantly agrees to comply with their demands, but sets her own terms. Once freed from the chair, she will kill them both, and they have to promise that they will go straight to hell. Both Daryl Sr. and her son are surprised to see that Becky has already freed herself. Daryl gets sprayed in his eyes, while the woman manages to obtain a gun before Becky can reach her. Becky emphasizes that the thumb drive will remain hidden forever if harm befalls her, causing Daryl Sr. to consider killing Diego instead, which is right when Becky throws a knife at her and kills her. Promising Diego she will return for him, Becky flees into the woods, leaving Daryl to discover his mother's fate. Consumed by rage, he loads his pistol and pursues Becky, intent on ending her life. After a swift sprint, Becky stops at a marked point on a tree, and when Daryl comes closer, his feet get stuck in animal traps. After he falls into the last trap and loses his life to a slashed throat, Becky retrieves the key and returns to the house to rescue her dog. However, to her dismay, she finds Daryl Sr. still alive. The elderly woman points her gun at Becky while saying that she missed her brain. But Becky obviously didn't. As Becky gives her dog a command, Diego tears the woman apart, putting an end to her fascist reign once and for all. 24 hours later, Becky finds herself seated in a CIA office, engaged in a meeting with Agent Kate Montana regarding the thumb drive. Agent Kate is astonished that a 16-year-old single-handedly took down a noble men's cell. Recognizing Becky's exceptional bravery and intelligence, Agent Kate offers her a position as the youngest recruit in the CIA. Becky not only accepts the offer, but also agrees to assist Kate in finding out what her key belongs to. At the end of the movie, as DJ is repairing his truck, he is unexpectedly approached by someone. He quickly grabs his gun, right when he realizes that person is Becky, now dressed for her new role as a CIA agent. As DJ recognizes her as the girl they wronged without cause, Becky unleashes her rocket launcher.